Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are going to be going over the caucus results in Iowa. I haven't pulled them up over here on my screen, so you guys can see right here. I'm going to pull them back down for a minute. Let's let everybody get in here, and we're going to start talking about this. I got this idea because I was on a Twitter Spaces talking with people just a few minutes ago, and everybody was bashing Vivek, which everybody knows kind of a fan. Um, don't like what he did the last couple days in saying if you're gonna vote if you support Trump, you need to vote for me. Not really a fan of that messaging, but we'll see. Looks like you guys are starting to get in here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let me know where you're at when you get in here, and then all right, there we go. The numbers are climbing again. There we go. There we go. Who do we have in here? Because I see a whole bunch of viewers. There we go. We'll give it a minute, let everybody get in here. Rose, hey, there we go. There we go. People I expected to hear from. But yeah, we'll be going over some of the results. This is what I was just showing just a minute ago. This is where we're currently at. Um I was on a Twitter Spaces just minutes ago, and everybody was bashing Vivek. Couldn't pronounce his name right, so clearly they didn't try to do any research. But with they were bashing him, but then they were putting him as number 2. And I'm like, "Wait, what?" So you're going to bash the guy and then you're saying Trump's number 1, which we all know. We all know Trump's going to come out of this with a win. Like, I don't see anybody as winning Iowa other than Trump. It's going to be Trump. And the results are already coming out very strong that way. Like 72%. Now we're super low in the voter turn in, the vote turn in, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, I see you guys coming in here. Hey, Danny. Eh. Um. So we're gonna go over this because I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. Everybody seemed to be super biased, but they would only talk in the Twitter Spaces about Trump. And the part that stands out to me in these scenarios, and I've kind of alluded to this before in other shows on Truth Will Set You Free and other ones, especially when we were going over the debates. I do strongly still believe Vivek is very likely to end up at uh to end up as a VP. Like if you have Trump as president and Vivek as VP, the media won't even know what to do with themselves at all. At all. They won't know cuz those two will just slaughter the media. Yes, please. Thanks, Rose, for always keeping us up and keep giving us those reminders. It was not. Eh, I I agree with you. I This is one of the times that I'm gonna say a poor choice of words. Maybe like I know people try to make justification or excuses for who they support, but I haven't seen Vivek go to anything crazy until that one video. So I'm like, all right, there's one strike, man. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how this goes, but that's questionable. No, and I agree with you. I get it. I don't understand it. Like even Tim Pool was saying earlier today, he's like, that was really cringe. I don't know what you were trying to get to. I like what you've been saying all along, but what were you meaning, man? Like, vote for me if you want to protect Trump or save Trump or whatever. Like, that doesn't make any sense. My thing that I'm looking at these numbers, like Nikki Haley's already at the bottom, which is making me very happy. Like Nikki Haley was number 2 at first. Ron DeSantis being number 2 is surprising me, but hopefully that's just the way these counties are, and we'll find out. Hey, Chris, haven't got notification from the. Whoa, what pages? Which ones are you on? Because yeah, I threw it up on a couple of them because we got to fix a couple of the logos so I know which ones are which, but that's all right. Glad you're here. So yeah, we're gonna be going over this. We're not gonna be up all night going over this. We already know Trump's going to win. I just wanted to talk about these early results, where they're kind of pacing, kind of get your guys' thoughts, see where you guys are at, especially after what's came out of with Vivek over the last 24 hours. I know some of you have kind of changed your tone with him. A lot of you were yelling at me, telling me he's a Soros plant and all of this stuff for a while, but no, I don't believe that. I honestly don't. Now, I do think uh if he goes on with doing what he's doing, he has a good chance. The machines need to go bye-bye in all states. Well, that takes every state to make that decision. That's what it's going to take. All 50 states will have to make that decision. Wow, really? That's crazy. Well, make sure you tune in. We also have a so you can get notifications. We knew this was an issue. So we set up a Telegram site. I'm just grabbing the link right now. If you if you join that Telegram site, the Telegram channel, then you will get notified of everything that comes off of our Facebook page. And so I built that to circumvent the Facebook notifications. So I just threw that in the chat. PTP, I I don't know if they're actively doing videos. I know on their page they're still posting content. But I don't know if they're still doing videos. I haven't seen one in a while. Um, but glad you're here, man. All right, guys. I want to know what you guys think. We got enough of you here. I'm curious. So, with the people that we have on the screen here, I want to know, who did you have for number 2? Because all of us had Trump for number 1. Like, Trump's taking Iowa. So I'm gonna get to that message in just a second, Tough. So who did you have? Throw in the chat. Who did you have as number 2 in Iowa? The reason why I'm asking this question is one of the reasons why I also made a post earlier this over the weekend, is I find it interesting. A lot of these people, um when it comes to a certain candidate, and I'm not going to say their name yet, but a certain candidate, I have no idea how this person is even relevant. I It makes zero sense. Can't even find Truth Will Set You Free page. When I click the link you guys throw in the comments, it says not available. Really? Uh Tava, I'm gonna throw this in the comments and you can try this link. This will take you over to Truth Will Set You Free on Facebook. Um Also, let me go over and share out real quick what is on Twitter. Not sure why Ron is so high up, but I'm glad Nikki isn't. Well, look at it, just refreshed. It just refreshed. Look at that. Nikki is number 2. This is where I I I really don't understand this individual. Like, how is this person, Nikki Haley, how does she have so much support when you very rarely run into people that are actually vocalizing support for her other than random profiles on the internet? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Hang on one second. I'm going to share this out over here. All right. So, see, you jinxed it. You jinxed it. Oh, see, then you say it again. Nikki Haley drops back down. I think these are early in votes in counties that probably early voted. I think Vivek will see a strong run at the end because he didn't really see a lot of climbing or a lot of support come his way until just recently. And so I think a lot of those are going to probably be some later numbers. Probably the money trail would answer a lot. Sure. Don't disagree with you, man. I don't disagree there. Unfortunately, there's way too much money in politics. Way too much money. Let's see. What else has everybody got? I do not like Nikki. I thought I might prior to her running. Not now. Yeah, I honestly the worst thing of Nikki, and I'm not telling you guys this for to change your mind or anything like that. It's already announced. Trump wins Iowa. Trump has won. Trump has won Iowa. It's done. Go figure. So it's all going to come down to second, third, and fourth. We're going to see who comes out. But because I just got the notification on my phone saying Trump won. Um, but Nikki Haley, my biggest problem with her, I'm sick of politicians that are pushing war. Like Lindsey Graham is doing the same thing. Lindsey Graham is doing the same exact thing, and I hate it. We have to stop putting up politicians that want to keep pushing war. We can't be doing this anymore. And we can't afford it. Two, what are we doing over there other than benefiting our politicians and our government? No one is benefiting from these wars. No one. Well, no taxpayer, really. Hey, sir. Long time no see. I saw you in the comments the other day, but yes, welcome back. And it's so good to have cash back. 100%. It is really good to have cash back. I'm definitely a Nikki fan since October, November. Chris, I'm curious. So, what has made Nikki appealing to you? Um, I've already said what my biggest struggle is with her. I'm done with the pounding the war drums. So I'm curious what made her attractive to vote for her. Let me see. Mind-boggling money. Yep. Here you go, Tracy. I knew you'd be on it. And yes, never Nikki in my world. In my world, yes, never Nikki. Yep. See, they already added the check mark. Trump's done. Trump's got it. Lindsey Graham is fake. I can't stand him. Nikki acts just like him. Yes. Those two are like identical. Identical in a lot of ways when it comes to Ukraine, the Israel situation, all of it. It's no, we must go drop bombs and we must go spend money. And it's like, no, we don't have to. We don't have to. Um, hey, what's up? Glad you're here. The idea of effing around and finding out in a year doesn't sit right with me. What do you mean by that? Because no matter what, we have a year until anything really takes place, right? So I'm curious, like, what part are you talking about? Oh, you know what? You're talking about Vivek. Yeah. Update in the comments. I think I know what you're talking about now. Nikki was part of the UN. A lot of people have been a part of the UN. A lot of people have. Because it's the progression of the ladder, but it's what they do. Like Nikki, when she goes through the ladder and starts going up the chain and then steps out and then goes and gets on the board of Boeing and then gets on all the entire military industrial complex and then all campaign is war, 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 war. All campaign is nothing but war. And it's like, I wonder why you're doing that. Because you're going to see a whole lot of money come your way when you do that. Like, no, I'm not supporting you. The catch and deport thing is big in my. Okay. Yeah, I will tell you. I think the catch and deport thing was just a. I think that was all a lie. Honestly, I don't think that was the real truth. Um, the problem is that does need to be addressed 100%. But if we're sending all of our money overseas and protecting others' borders before we protect ours, because she wasn't really giving a game plan on what we would do locally for our border, but she was all for funding Ukraine, funding Israel, all of it. And that's where I was like, I'm done with you. And every time you get onto that stage, you get on and you pound those war drums. And I'm not for that. I'm not for that. We can't be having any more long running wars. Um Trump stinks. Oh, we have a troll. Okay. Welcome, dude. Trump likes watching naked teenage girls change at his pageants. Oh, all right. Why do you think that way, man? Congrats. It's interesting that you know these details so confidently. It's how we got to where we want. Okay. I see what you're saying, Danny. None of the people running ever worked for the UN except. Yeah, correct. But I'm saying in the chain of command, like what happens, you start moving up the ladder in all of the government, and you start taking seats in different roles and you move around, right? And so you move around, you start taking different seats. Like you start with when you're local, you start with water board or school boards and different things. You really do move around. You get up to those levels, you start moving into the big international seats because you're a federal level government and you get placed in certain things. And that's just where she ended up. And so I would never discount somebody that went and worked at the UN just because of their position there. I would see what their actions were after, is what I'm saying. Because they could have opened their eyes when they got there and then was like, I'm out. I need to talk about this and I need to expose all of this type of thing. Yeah, I'm totally against funding Ukraine and Israel. Those aren't affairs that America. Yeah, 100%, man. And unfortunately, when it came to Nikki, she was all for just funding all of it. All of it. All of it. And we can't be doing that. We don't have the money to do it. Biden, yes, Biden did shower with his daughter, and it's in her diary. It's disgusting, disgusting. But I'm sure. Okay, Pelosi wants to be an ambassador to Italy. Yeah, Pelosi can go to the special place. I'm freaking out a little because of my proximity to the invasion on the border. I think you should, man. I, I don't want to cause panic by any means. It's a reason for concern, for sure. It is a big concern that we need to address. We 100% need to address. Our current administration is not doing a single thing, and they have now turned to getting them across the border and then just putting them on a plane and then sending them onto the uh, anywhere into the country. Which I was a huge advocate that that has to stop when Abbott and DeSantis was doing that and sending them to New York. That we can't be doing that either because we're making our country even more vulnerable. We are distributing all of these illegal immigrants throughout our country instead of keeping them close and stopped. We're now distributing them. We can't be doing that, and we did. Unfortunately, we created a big mess. We created a big mess. Looking at these results, it's interesting. Vivek did not do very well. It only says 1% though. No, that's wrong. Votes counted. That math is getting pretty close. I think that's almost 100% voting. Is that? Let's, let's do some calculations here. So we got 770 plus 242 plus 239 plus 94 plus 8. Yep. So we got 100%, well, almost 100% reporting. We're short by 6 on the website. That is very disappointing for Vivek. Which may have he may have known this, and that may have resulted in why he was responding the way he was the last 24 hours, being a little bit more panic. Um, I don't like that Nikki is 17%. I want to meet these people. Who are these people that are supporting Nikki Haley? Who are they? I would love to have a conversation with you. Anybody that supports Nikki Haley, just like Chris, I I want to have a conversation with you. If anybody can find someone that will come on and talk with me, I want to understand why Nikki Haley. I have yet to find a single real life person in my circle of people that even supports Nikki Haley. Vivek just really irks me, and I'm still on the fence with Trump. I could take it or leave it, and not sure if I'll vote for him. Okay. You want to come on right now, Chris? I can get you the link. Tracy, not yet. Everything can be hacked or faked propaganda. It's wartime situation. I don't disagree with you. That's one of the things I said months ago that I really fear around this whole thing when it comes to. Yeah, Chris, let me know when you're ready, and I'll throw the link in the chat. But the link is only for Chris, guys. Um, but so with AI, when that first came out, that was one of my big fears. Is AI could be utilized to ruin an entire election. They could make Trump look ridiculous, for example, by saying Trump said this. Everything that he accused him when he was president of saying some crazy things. And they could just make a video of him saying it and be like, Trump said this. And then it's going to be a he said, she said situation. We can't have that in elections. We can't. Thankfully, Twitter Twitter has come out with their fact checker that is built in, or X, does a pretty good job at detecting AI images. It's doing a good job at detecting it because there's a couple out there, and especially when the Epstein files started coming out, there was a couple pictures going around of Trump with a bunch of girls on a plane, young girls on a plane, and the fact checker on Twitter was being like, nope, these are fake, not true. And so it's pretty cool that we actually have a fact checker on X or Twitter that is realistic. Here, let me get you the link real quick. Okay, let me see. Okay, that link is only for Chris. So when Chris jumps on, he can jump on, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about Nikki. I really want to hear a logical position on why he's supporting Nikki, because I have my very strong opinion on against her. Woohoo! It finally updated. Oh, they're still coming in. So maybe my numbers were wrong. Okay. Yeah, maybe I was expecting these to be different. So it's coming. I see you, Chris. Give me just one sec. Um, these are gonna keep updating. This makes me happy because Nikki fell down by 3. So we're gonna keep that up. Let me get rid of that message here. Then let's bring up Chris. Hey, what's going on, Chris?
Hey, can you hear me? I don't know how to
Yes,
do
sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
this.
I can hear you.
All right, so I'm gonna be honest. Like, I like Nikki's energy
All right.
with the debates, and remember, keep in mind, I have not been able to stay updated. I'm a full-time engineering student, so
Okay.
like, I haven't been able to do much politics-wise, keeping
Yeah.
updated. Um, but I like her energy, and I like. I guess she really got me with because I thinking about it. I remember that she ends a lot of her sentences with the catch and deport point, but she doesn't. She never elaborates past that,
Right.
so that she does leave that up to one's imagination. Um, and I'm not here to debate, like, kind of educate me, like, tell me about, like, what's wrong with her, because, like, Megyn Kelly's talked about her, Tim Pool has talked about her. Well, Tim
Yeah.
Pool talks a lot about her. But yeah,
So
like, educate me, explain to me, because I need to get updated.
yeah. Yeah. No, And I appreciate you being open about it. When it comes to her, I my biggest problem with her is she is like, I'm all my what is it? Her husband that has been in the military for a very long time and then is retired. She is like, "We are a military family, da 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 da, and we back our soldiers." And then she next sentence, she's like, "We're going to go to war with. We're going to fight these wars. Ukraine needs to win. Israel needs to fight back." And it's like these are not our wars, guys.
No, they're not. Like
So
I would passively listen to her while I'm like working in the backyard or something. That's when I would listen to the debates this past semester. Um but I do remember hearing her, I always remember hearing her like talk about our soldiers. In the same breath, she is advocating for more and more war, and it's like, "No, girl, I don't want you to do that, but I do want you to deport."
yeah, well, we should deport anybody coming into our country illegally. That's the
Right.
reason why it's called illegal immigration. Illegal immigration. It should not be permitted because it is illegal. So we should be removing them from our country and putting some type of record so if they come back in, we can do something stronger next time. But the other thing with Nikki, I don't know if you saw this clip of her, but she went on, I think it was Fox News or CNN. I'm picturing red on the screen. So um,
If you have links, put it in the private chat here on StreamYard, and I will absolutely open them up and watch them.
yeah. Well, I'll actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let me pull it up, and then we will actually watch it together. How about that?
Absolutely.
So, what is your opinion about internet censorship that people can post anonymously? Anonymously,
Posting anonymously, are we talking about 100% one way or the other? Because there are, like, if it's inflammatory, no, you shouldn't be able to post anonymously. Like if you're
okay,
inciting violence against the government in some way, I don't think
okay,
you should be loud and proud.
okay. So, when you say that, who gets to determine inciting violence?
That's a very interesting question because it is subjective to the person, to the from person to person, as we
Right.
have seen in the past few years. But I mean, like, by the law, legitimate, like, I want X, Y, and Z to happen to these X, Y, and Z people.
Okay. Yeah. So I understand what you're saying when it comes to the whole thing when people saying inciting violence or really going at the government, encouraging violence and stuff like that, it gets questionable, right? The other problem I have with free internet or the freedom of the internet, and this was posed by one of my friends that really recently switched to being more liberal. He's like, I know you're very libertarian in views, but what is your stance with the freedom of the internet and child pornography? Because if you want everybody to have freedom of the internet, then you still are allowing child pornography to be distributed. And that was a very valid question at the time. I didn't even have an answer for. But my thoughts are is if we have laws for it to be distributed in person, those laws apply to the internet, and that's what should be applied. So what Nikki Haley
Yeah.
has done when it comes to the internet, she said, and I'm trying to get the video pulled up here.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a sweater. Like
Yeah, go ahead,
I
man.
have anxiety.
You're good.
I'm like Cartman from South Park. Like
You're
I'll
doing
be
good,
right
man.
back.
No worries, no worries. We'll pull him down for a second while he's doing that. So what, as some of you know, where I'm going with this is when it comes to the internet, like we have to allow freedom of speech, and so we have to start allowing that. Well, not start. We have to allow that to happen. And when you start restricting what people can and cannot say anonymously on the internet, it becomes an issue. Then we'll bring him back up. It looks like he just got back. All right. There we go. There you go. And so
Hi.
I'm trying to find the full video. I keep finding 2-second clips. Bear with me a second. I don't want to show you just a small clip and come on. Oh, I got it. This will do it. Why does it seem like all of these videos have been scraped? I know as soon as I say it, everybody in the comments are going to be like, "Yeah, she said that. She said that." Um, so in essence, I'm going to keep looking, but I'm going to describe real quick to you, and then we can continue on with the conversation. So in essence, what she said is you should not be able to post on the internet anonymously. I cannot say that word right now. Um, anonymously. And see, I did it again. But you can't post on the internet anonymously and not have your name associated with it, no matter what you're saying on the internet. If you want to say some vulgar or foul things, you need to have your name associated with it.
Yeah, I I agree with that. Like, if it is a
Okay.
clear, if it would in person be a clear violation of the law, clear breaking of the law, inciting violence, not like absolute beyond a doubt, it's inciting violence. It should be out there.
Okay. So with that, I understand what you're saying there, is because then you're associating um some bad things with an individual, right? And so I get
Hmm.
that. But the biggest problem I see with this is you can go back to some of our founding fathers, like Rand Paul was talking about this recently, that our founding fathers were posting in newspaper articles and stuff like that anonymously to say we hate the government that we have in place now. We have to oppose what is there. We have to fight back to get people going. And there has to be a place for that. And that when you are saying things, let's say, actually, let me ask you this position real quick. What is your position on January 6th?
I think it was a mostly peaceful protest.
Okay. So when you say it was mostly peaceful protest, which I fairly agree with, I hate using that term because I think that term got washed out over 3 years. Um, and it has 5 different definitions. But when you say that for January 6th, and you have somebody that says, I went there just to voice my opinion and to tell my representatives they are not representing me, but you saw the violence from some videos that were plastered all over media. Do you think that could be considered inciting violence?
No, if they were not breaking windows and property damage, bodily damage to other
Okay.
people, if they are simply there to legitimately peacefully protest, because there are those extremists, there are people that take it to the extreme,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't be like, they should not be in trouble. They for lack of a better term in my mind right now, like, they should not be negatively affected if they are
Okay.
peacefully protesting.
Sure. That's where we start running into a fine line, right? Is the government is going to be using that for whatever narrative the government is wanting to push. Does the government or anybody in media say January 6th was peaceful protesting at all?
Not that I've seen. Like,
No, not at all, right?
nobody mainstream, like,
No,
your Liz Wheeler, Tim Pool, they say that, but no one on Fox News is saying it was a mostly peaceful protest.
correct. No one is saying that. That is in mainstream media or is in the government. Other than there's probably maybe a very select few of people that would say that in Congress. Um, but that also paints that narrative for you that when you say you have to register on the internet to be able to post and say things, you are in essence saying everybody that was there on January 6th had to have their name registered to say they were going or promoting this event that they were going to. And so they can actually be tracked even more by our government.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So on January 6th, when you have that whole thing that went down, and we both
Yes.
agree that it was mostly peaceful, there are some bad apples. But if
Right.
they had to register on the internet to be able to associate and talk about what was going to be going on that day, everybody was going to be going there. They were going to be protesting, using their voice peacefully. But the narrative in the media and the government painted a whole different picture. So that tells you, in the sense that we have us that view it differently than our government, but you say you do support a verification to register for the internet, and you put your name associated with it so you can always be tracked in what you're doing on the internet.
Shit, you got me.
So that
um,
that puts your
yeah,
name into a database that the government can associate you with an activity, that the government sees that as an act of violence, but the people that were there, and majority of the people in this country, I do strongly believe, do not see that as an act of violence, but the
right.
government is saying differently. So do you now see where we start running into a problem with forcing registration on the internet to be able to post anonymously?
I do see that, yes. I I do.
Seeing that comes into a lot of scenarios when we start talking about gun registration, we start talking about why we have licenses and permits to do all of these things. All of that comes into government control. Is they're like, no, 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 we're just doing this for your safety. That's always what the government does. We're doing this for your safety. But it turns out generally what they're doing is so they're doing it for tracking and for their
It's an
use later.
ulterior motive.
Correct.
And almost every action by the government is motivated. Almost every action has an ulterior motive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But yeah,
that's where
that's a lot to think about. That definitely pushes me pushes me further away from her.
okay. Well, and
Definitely.
I'm not doing this intentionally to push you away from anybody other than
No,
to
no,
try to educate you,
I
on
keep an open mind.
and I appreciate that. And that's what we should do, right? If anybody wants to come on and show me things about Vivek to really change my mind that with stuff that I haven't seen, I know I see some names in the
So
chat that have sent me things earlier today,
my
but
my personal deal with Vivek,
yeah, let's hear it.
every time every time he talks in those debates, it he reminds me of circa 2016 Trump. Just but Trump had to me Trump had a bit more like class to it, and Vivek, it's like I don't I question if I should take him seriously because
Okay.
he almost comes across like a Facebook troll, like I'm here for the lulz kind of thing. And that's why he irks me. Like I genuinely just don't know if I could take him seriously.
Yeah, so when it comes to we don't have a track record with Vivek. That's one of the hardest things we have. It's one of the hardest battles and conversations that I have, and why I don't get into arguments with people over Vivek, or really try to change their position, because no one has the truth. Everybody's running with their opinion. With Vivek. That's all it is. But I'll tell you
Mhm.
where my stance comes from.
Okay.
Trump said he was going to drain the swamp in 2016 and he was going to lock Hillary up in 2016. That was his campaign run. Drain the swamp and we're going to lock up Hillary, right?
Mm, I took those two phrases in particular as a way it was a tool for Trump to get the audience riled up because like you
Right.
could see the audience is kind of like dozing off and he's like, and we're gonna lock her up,
Right.
we're gonna drain the swamp, and it pulls everybody right back in. So I never took those seriously from
Yeah. See, that's the difference. When a politician is going to be saying things like that, especially from me, that is more of a libertarian stance than necessarily red or blue. Um, I do want to see those actions taken. Hillary Clinton should have a lot of things against her, and she has nothing been filed against her. And that we're throwing the entire book and everything, the Constitution at Donald Trump. We're throwing everything. No one's
Right.
doing anything properly. It's selective enforcement of the law. But Trump ran on locking her up and draining the swamp. He didn't either. He didn't do either of them. And now with Vivek, he is saying we're going to go even further. I'm going to tell you we're going to drain 75% of the government, and I'm going to tell you how we can do that. I can actually get rid of 75% of the government and all the alphabet agencies with a swipe of a pen from an executive order because of these laws that actually give me that power. And I have not had any politician in my time of paying attention to politics. So since my first time being able to vote, what is this? 2000, what was it? 2004 or whatever it was. Was it 2004? Yeah. Cuz then you had 2008, 2012, yeah. So, you have never had a politician come out and start laying out laws on how they're going to take action. Vivek is doing that. And he is saying how he's going to do it. Now, I don't like what he said in the last 24 hours in the video that's circulating right now. I hate it. I think it's wrong. In Tim Pool's words, it's very cringe. And so, yeah, I did kind of cringe when I saw it. I was like, yeah, that was not your best one, man. That was not your best one. We're going to find out. I'm going to definitely put that up as a strike for you. And we're going to see if it continues. If it continues, then we're going to have to change it up again. But because it does seem like he's desperate. And looking at these numbers, so let's pull them up again. Let's see where we're at. See if it's refreshed. It might not have since it was not the main tab open. Vivek hasn't gained any. Trump did. So Trump's at 57 so far. Interesting. Nikki's still number 3, which is good. I want to see Nikki down there.
Who's
Because
Ryan
I just
Binkley?
don't
Is
know of
that
anybody
a
that supports
write-in?
her. What?
Is
Ryan
Ryan
Binkley?
Binkley? Is that a
I
write-in
have
or
no
something?
idea who that individual was. Someone mentioned it on one of the Twitter spaces I was just a part of before this, and apparently Tim runs his mouth. He does occasional shows on the Patriot on Sirius XM, and then he's on Twitter. He's hilarious. I would highly suggest to go follow him if you guys aren't. Um, he was like, "Who is this guy?" And he's got 8 votes. Like, where did he come from? How did he get 8 votes? But whatever. Um, but overall, when it comes to Vivek, I get people's hesitancy and they compare him to Obama because he did steal two. Let me put this in front of the camera. Two, not steal, but he did end up using the same verbiage as he did in 2 sentences. So fine, you can start correlating that. The second thing you can start correlating is Obama does speak very, very well, and so does Vivek. So, of course, there's an intimidation factor because we have had idiots running our country that can't put together sentences and speak clearly or intelligently for.
I call him the corpse in chief.
But we haven't had a very intelligent speaking president for a very long time. Very long time. You would go back to Reagan, you go back to JFK, and then you had in recent era, everybody would remember is Obama. And so I get why people say that. I get their hesitancy. There's no track record to hold on to be like, oh no, he takes action like this. There's nothing. So I get it. That's exactly what I said in 2016 about Trump. I said, what are you voting on? Well, he's going to save their country. And I'm like, how do you know that? Like, he has no track record for 2016. And if you go back to prior to 2016, he was a Democrat. So how are you going to tell me he's going to change this country? You're taking his word for it, and
Oh,
then these
you're
people won't take Vivek's word for it, and so be it. It's their choice, right?
yeah. I really took Trump. I took Trump's word for it. I did vote for him in 2016.
Okay.
And I knew because I was watching him on Celebrity Apprentice, and I'm pretty sure he was a Democrat. Like
Mhm.
around that time, like before 2012, like before Obama's second term, he was still kind of a Democrat. And my deal with Trump in 2016 was he's allegedly a Democrat turned Republican. He could potentially be that centrist president that I
Sure.
want.
Yeah, and Trump proved me wrong. He did a very fine job until COVID happened.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I I still have some criticisms, but I'm gonna have some criticisms. Like even if Vivek became president, I'm a supporter of him right now. If he became president, I would probably still find issues of some of the things that he was pushing. Because if all of us were the same, this world would be very boring. And so
hmm
there is no way I'm going to 100% agree with everything he does. And it's the same with Trump. I don't 100% agree with everything he did. I don't like the Chinese tariffs. I don't like that he banned bump stocks. And I don't like what he did with COVID and pushed the vaccine. And he won't
Mm,
admit that
I
he actually pushed something that he probably should have dialed back a little bit.
I disagree with him pushing the vaccine. Like I don't think he pushed the vaccine. Because I distinctly recall him all the time saying he was not saying everybody needs to get vaccinated. He was saying I'm going to get the vaccine because I need it, and if you feel like you need it, go ahead and get it.
Agreed.
And I like that it wasn't you need to get this, it was a choice. So I don't understand how people say that he was pushing the vaccine.
So it's not that he was pushing the vaccine as he's telling everybody to go get it. He's pushing the vaccine and gloating on how great it is when there is no evidence that the vaccine is actually that great.
Now I understand the
So
statement.
that is more of what it is. Is he kept saying, "Oh, look at this great thing we did. Great thing. Like it's fantastic." And it did this and it's like, "Wait a minute. You're
Yeah.
missing the big spot." Like we have to
Now
come back. We have to come back and we have to say, "Hey, wait a minute. We got some questions about this. This vaccine did skip all trials, didn't go through the proper testing, and we're just starting to stab people with it." And so
yeah.
that is where we're coming from. Is a lot of people want him just to be like, you know what? I should have dialed that back a little bit and said, you know what, that gloating about it as much as I did, I probably shouldn't have. And I do want to redo on COVID. And that's all he would have to say, and it would have solved all of those problems.
Yeah. I don't wanna redo with COVID. I am a
No, I'm not.
medical worker, I would prefer to be
Yeah,
out of the
I'm.
medical field
What
before the next
all that is
pandemic.
saying, all that is saying is he sees where he could have done better,
Yeah.
but his ego, he struggles to actually admit that he made a mistake or could have done things better. He struggles with admitting that. That's where that line comes in for a lot of people with him.
Yeah.
Um, Al, I see you. Of course, he's never going to say what you want to say. Can we move on? Okay. Um, but so that's when it comes down to the whole thing that he needs to fix that. He does. And that is where the perception of those people that you say he's everybody's saying he's pushing it. No, he's pushing it as he was gloating. And those of us that are like, "Okay, dude, we just need to hear something different." Right? But overall, when it comes to Nikki Haley, do you see what I'm talking about? I have one more example on exactly why I would say Nikki Haley is probably not the greatest person to have as president. So the last thing that I would say about her is she also would lie to your face, and it has been recorded and played back in front of her live on stage when she was called out on she would increase the retirement age. Did you know that she was for increasing the retirement age?
Honestly, I feel like the retirement age has been artificially increased anyway. Like,
Sure.
I understand what you're saying. By all means, I understand what you're saying, but it with how the economy has been going and how much it just like the retirement age has been artificially increased. People can't retire when they hit retirement age.
I 100% agree with you. But increasing
But
that
I
age only
understand. I
makes it
understand.
worse, right?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
And so increasing the retirement age doesn't solve the problem. The issue that we're starting to face, and probably my kids will have to face it more than we will, um, is when we're starting to talk about this, it's a Ponzi scheme. And with retirement, you have to have kids to be able to pay for the older people to retire as it comes in. It's just a Ponzi scheme. That's how it works. You are seeing population decline and decrease in births. And so now you're starting to see the numbers come in to where you're not able to pay for all of the people that are in retirement. So they want to cover their ground. They, as in the corrupt government. I am not saying party, I am saying government because it is not a single party. Our corrupt government is talking and teasing about increasing the retirement age so they can hide their problems. And they don't want to face them honestly. That this entire thing around Social Security should have never been done in the first place. And studies have proven over and over and over and over, if you were to be able to put $100 into your bank account for month to month from around 25 or 30 years old until you retire, you would have $1 million saved up when you retire. You can't do that in a 401k because of how much the market goes up and down and wish wash and people get nervous and move money around. It just doesn't work. But if you were just to put $100 into a checking account or a savings account every month from 25 or 30 ish till you're 65, you'd have $1 million in a bank account. And so that is where they've tricked people to buy into this whole thing when we really should be enabling and teaching everybody financial responsibility so they can form their own retirement on their own and be able to do it without government taking care of them. Now, I would have to go back. I don't remember all of this, the requirements of why Social Security became a thing back then, but I want to start fresh. We really should. I know a bunch of people in government has talked about this over the last 10 years. We really need to start allowing people under a certain age to just completely opt out of Social Security for the rest of their life and then let the government figure out the rest of the money. And say we take anybody under 30 can opt out of Social Security and they're responsible for their own retirement for when they get to 65. That is what we should be instilling. That would also bring back pensions as a job benefit. But because of Social Security coming in, we put the money on the government and the responsibility on the government, not people, and working hard and their loyalty to companies to be able to have a solid retirement.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that cuz I know I'm contributing to Social Security, but I know I'm not going to be able to reap those benefits.
Oh, sure
Like
you will. The
I
dollar.
got banned from the Occupy Democrats page back in 2015 because they said something about Social Security, and I was like, why should I care? I'm not gonna be able to do anything with it
Right.
when I should be able to, and they banned me within like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've been banned from that page on Facebook for a really long time.
Oh,
I
I'm almost
follow it
at my
on
10-year
Twitter.
anniversary.
I, I follow it on Twitter, um, but I have to fight myself from even responding because I know what's going to happen. I'll get blocked again. But
Right.
it's at least a good form of a laugh every day when I see the posts.
I
But on it,
I don't even take what like I mean I never really took what they say seriously, but you know whenever I see those pictures and it says like Occupy Democrats at the lower right corner, I
sure,
just have to laugh.
yeah, it's sad. But out of all of those things that I've said about Nikki, not that you need to take my word for it. Feel free to go and look them up. There's plenty of videos showing all of the topics that I brought up. What is that? Has that changed any of your perception or added some question marks? What is your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. You've given me a lot to think about and a lot to research, and if she seems like a real, as Liz Wheeler would say, a squish.
Yes, yes, and that is exactly how she describes her. But when it comes down to Nikki, my my biggest thing is Trump gave us 4 years without a war, 4 years, and also commitment of shutting down a war and pulling our troops back from Afghanistan. That is the type of culture and expectation and a bar that I have as a requirement of every president going forward.
Yeah, and that if I mentioned before I came on the live stream that like I'm on the fence with Trump. I'm on the fence with him only because he couldn't get the hell off Twitter.
He
Everything else though, almost everything in his presidency, I was like, this is good. This is good. Maybe not so much the COVID stuff, but that was just a really weird time.
Sure. So Trump hasn't been on Twitter for 4 years. Has his
Yeah.
perception started to grow as in more support?
Um, it. I mean, well, now I'm just radio silent because the guy can't even be bothered to go on a debate. If
Well, and I
unless if he's done interviews that I know he's done a couple of interviews here and there,
mhm.
but like I have not haven't I have not watched them. I should get around to watching them. And I'm going to
Yeah,
do that.
I I will tell you Trump hasn't been debating. That's one criticism I have of him. I think he should, and everybody says all
Thank
the
you.
people that are super Trump supporters are why he's going to win anyways. No, it is your you
Yeah, but I am an open-minded centrist. Like I voted for Tulsi Gabbard in 2020.
okay?
And I voted for Joe Jorgensen for the actual election. I voted for Tulsi Gabbard in the primary. I
Okay.
consider myself a centrist.
Okay.
I need I need to be convinced. You can't just
Right.
tell me, "Oh, he's going to win anyway." That's not enough
No,
to make me vote for him.
agreed. No, and
But
he's
his history and his track record from 2016 to like 2019 before the pandemic, it, I that absolutely that is in my consideration, and I am more inclined to vote for Trump than
yeah, and
well, pretty much all GOP candidates at this point.
so
Since
Trump
you
should be
schooled me.
showing up to the debates, in my opinion. He should not be handed anything. No presidential candidate should be handed anything. Just because of what he went through and all the crap he went through doesn't mean he deserves to be handed the presidential seat. He should at least show up and participate, and he will slaughter everybody but Vivek on the stage. No one can bring up. Everybody would tell me months ago on these lives, it would be like, "Well, they're going to bring up his court cases, and he can't talk about them." Well, Vivek would defend him. Vivek has been doing nothing but defend Trump the entire time, and he's proven me right. And that's what would happen. Um, Now with Trump, I think he needs to get on that stage and just prove to people and the country is why he is the leader, and at least do it before the primaries start closing out. Now, he hasn't shown up, and the primaries are officially starting tonight, which really bothers me because it's his ego again that he thinks he's entitled to just deserve the GOP nomination. No one deserves a GOP nomination. You still have to go up and show it. You have to prove it. That is the main thing. But when it comes to Trump, I don't see anybody, not a single person that's running, gonna even hold a candle to him.
I
With Trump,
really just I really just wanted him to be at the debates, A, to participate and be a proper, competitor.
sure,
But B, I want to see how well Ramaswamy and Trump can synthesize together because I'm interested to see if how well they can team up and see like looking at the debates you could see some of the candidates they're not all sometimes they're not all like trying to go and go at each other, but you're also kind of I'm looking for how well they synthesize among each other to see
Sure.
what a potential ticket could be.
Yeah, I we'll have to see. No one has an answer on that one. No one does. No one knows how well Vivek would take, as Al has said, like second place. Like I no one knows how that would work. Everybody can throw out their opinion. They can, but I I don't see it. I don't see how they can have an opinion unless they have worked with him directly. Then okay, you could. Um, but it all depends. In my opinion, I would think Vivek would be playing for the long term because of his lack of participation in elections and also politics in general in his life. When it comes to him being a VP, I think it would be a great role for him to hang out for a little bit, learn a lot, and then in 2028 run as president. So you have Trump, Vivek for 4 years, and then you have Vivek and someone else for another 8. That is a way that you can clean house, you can fix our government as you take over full control and direction of things, and you have a lot of people backing you by doing that. That is a great way of doing it. But we'll just have to see, man. But look up those things with Nikki. Don't take my word for it, but I'm I can tell you everything I described to you is 100% accurate.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to delve deeper. And do you know what happened to Liz? Why is she not on YouTube anymore?
Who?
Liz Wheeler?
She took a job with freaking the War Room.
Like how can I get
War Room.
connected to her?
Liz Wheeler is with the War Room. She runs things behind the scenes with the War Room and Steve Bannon. But she's on Twitter. If you look up Liz Wheeler, that's where I follow her.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, my friend is messaging me. She wants to play a video game, so
Yeah,
I
go play games, man.
unfortunately have to
I was
go.
just gonna wrap
Uh,
up the show. So
yeah, fantastic seeing you again. Haven't, like I said, haven't seen anything from like your circle in a year except for Suni coming up on my phone, but like I haven't seen anybody else.
we've been here, man. We've just been dealing with social media. Unfortunately, one of the great things that we've had happen just in the on January 9th is Cash has got out.
Yeah,
Eh,
when did he get out? January 9th?
mhm,
Fantastic. That's great because he was there for 3 years.
almost 3 years. I want to
Almost
say
3 years.
his 3 year day would be January 11th. So it was close.
Bless that man. I hope he's doing much better.
You can go back and see him. He's in the Truth Will Set You Free stuff. He's also got his social media, and I'll just do a short shout out for him. Like, and if
Awesome.
anybody wants to help out Cash right now, just get back on his feet. Any of that, you can go to. Let me grab the link. Actually, copy it. Fail. If anybody wants to be able to help out Cash, you can go to that Bitly that is in the chat, or you can go to helpcash.com. That has that goes to Give Send Go. You can donate and help get him back on his feet to be able to have everything to come back on the platform. And then it also has in that link all of his social medias, along with Streetlights Unity Movement, Truth Will Set You Free. So all of that is there. And
Yeah,
that's
I'm already on the website. I will contribute $10.
thank you. Thank you. And Cash will appreciate it. And I appreciate it. Anything we can do to get him back. He's not fully back yet. He's in a halfway house right now. In
Yeah.
February he'll be back home. And then that's when things are going to start coming up. But he's already doing lives from his cell phone and joining us. Tomorrow night we have Truth Will Set You Free. If you want to tune in, it'll be our normal time is 5 p.m. Mountain, 7
Okay.
p.m. Eastern. And
Yeah.
Cash will be joining us tomorrow. And so for all of you guys that are in the chat, just be tuning in tomorrow. I know the recording, the reminder is not posted on social media yet. Russo said he was going to get that up in the morning. But when we get that up, it'll be up tomorrow, and all three of us will be on. And
All
then
right.
we have a series with Cash on what he went through for the last 3 years. We already did part 1. Part 1 is already up on the page, so you can go check that one out, but there will be a series of a few of them following after tomorrow.
All right. See you later.
All right, man. See you,
Bye.
man. All right, guys. Well, that you already heard the spiel. You heard everything. I don't need to recap anything. Thanks for joining me. Let me just pull up the numbers. We'll just touch on them real quick before I call it. Vivek unfortunately did kind of poor, but numbers are not fully in yet. We'll see as they come in. Trump dominated. Um, Honestly, I expected him to be in the 60s. We'll see where it rounds out, but he already won. That's all that matters at this point because we know who won. Now we're going to find out what happens in the next one is South Carolina because that is where DeSantis is going and others are going. But then New Hampshire is going to be the weird one because New Hampshire was all in on Chris Christie. That's where a lot of his supporters, he told everybody to go to Nikki Haley, even though he was bashing her on a hot mic. So we're going to find out how New Hampshire goes. But thanks for joining in, guys. I see you guys all in here. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you guys all later and have a good night.